Hey, it's Carrie with Reseller Revenue, and today we're going to do a what sold for the past week. And I'll tell you, there weren't a whole lot of really high dollar items. It's a lot of bread and butter, but that's what pays my bills. So let's get to it and see what the week looked like. Uh, Maybe not. I lied. Hang on. There we go. See, I don't, this is what we get when I don't edit here. All right, guys. Hopefully we're all on the same screen here and we can see what the week looked like. Um, November 17th through the 23rd, so 7 days. And I was down 6%, which was kind of funny because I felt like I had a great week. But you know what? I'm still going to take it for a great week. I'm pretty consistent. eBay's fairly consistent, so I'm going to take it. It's fine. My net sales, though, were down 10%. So you know what, though? 3,400 net sales for the week. I'm going to be okay with it. Everything's good. I sold 207 items this week, which seems very odd that I sold 207 items last week, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm very consistent. So, scrolling down, I am a long ways away from having 25% of the repeat buyers that I would like. It's something I continuously work on. I would like to have 25% of my buyers every single period that I look at be at least 25%. I realize that's really hard to do. I may never get there, but I'm striving for it. Here we have promoted sales and offers and all that good stuff. So my shipping and handling, this is what I charged was $1,083.14. And this is what I paid was $846. So I'm still ahead on the shipping, which is always good. And I sold 188 of my 207 sold promoted. So I'm fine. I haven't really talked about it, but I am absolutely fine with the new promoted listing rule that they have because it doesn't really matter. Because when I put promoted listing on, I am ready for every single thing I sell that week to sell promoted. So it doesn't really matter to me about the new promoted listing thing. No big deal. It'll be fine. And if you don't have it built into your metrics, then you need to figure that out. So uh, this sold was a vintage Brighton charm bracelet. I listed it November 12th. It went on my weekend 30% off sale, and immediately when it went on my sale, it sold at the 30% off, so $48.99. Brighton is still a pretty strong brand for me. I know some people say they have trouble selling it, but if it's one that's pretty attractive, I think they move pretty quick as long as you price them correctly. J. King, another one. So there was a time when a lot of my J. King stuff I could put up for over $100 and it would sell pretty quickly. I don't know if it's just my store, but I have a little bit harder time getting it to move on quicker, but that's okay. It did sell for $56. It sold on the 30% off sale. I listed this September 6th, so it was sitting there for a little while. Here I have a clip-on lot of 11 pairs. I talk about this a lot. I absolutely 100% think this is a good idea. If I have, none of these items would I list by themselves. They are not, worthy of their own listing, so to speak. They're all clip-ons. They aren't even all the same color, but there's 11 pairs and it brought $52.49. I must have had listed $69.99, and now I look and go, what the heck was I thinking? Because that's not a $70 lot. But anyway, it sold. I listed this November 2nd. So it sold, or no, I did not. I'm lying. I relisted it November 2nd. I listed it October 24th. I must have changed something in the listing. But that's still pretty good. It sold pretty quick. So I love making small lots of things that don't necessarily stand a listing on their own because either they would take forever to sell or they just aren't worth my time. Lot them up, make a small lot, let's get them moving. This was a beautiful brooch. I did shoot a little high on the price. I think I was asking 111. It sold at 25% off, but that is a gorgeous Florenza brooch and it was in really nice condition. I do believe I paid $5 for this. It was worth it. Had that beautiful Rivoli stone in the middle. And for anybody new, that Rivoli is just that how it's pointed on this end instead of the bottom. So it's almost like it's upside down and it's got that beautiful color to it. So let me see if I can find the marking if anybody wants to see. There's the Florenza. And I am going to go back to, I didn't show you markings on anything. So I need to remember, there's the Brighton hang tag. And the Class Boys looks like that on Brighton too. So sometimes the hang tag does fall off, but that Class Boys looks like that for the most part. So that's how I knew that was Brighton. And J. King, their markings can be a little different. I'm not really sure on this one. Might have been different altogether. But usually on that hook, it will, yeah, I don't know that I showed it, but on that hook, it'll say BTR or and then usually 925, but it'd be right on the hook. I didn't show it. Bad me. And it was signed or I would have called it that. This one sold very quickly. I don't think it brought 70. I think I took an offer. I do think I took an offer. I think I took an offer of 60 maybe. But anyway, I listed it November 10th and it sold on November 10th and that's fine. It was quick, fast, and I don't remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't near that. So I want to say 7 or 8. So I had to pay up a little bit. I love sash pins. I think they're really cool. And people ask me like, how do you know it's a sash pin? Well, this right here, that pin is thick because I had to stick through the sash on, the old clothing. So that's how you know that's a sash pin. And it did have that cool thistle look. I think, if I remember right, that was an acrylic stone in the front. Nope, that must have been another one. It did need, it had some icky on the corner, but I clearly showed that. I don't spend time scrubbing stuff, so they can scrub it however they want when they get it. Nolan Miller brooch. I'd had this one for a while, September 8th, and it sold when it hit 30% off. It wasn't one of the really unique ones or really cool ones, but Nolan Miller is always a fairly good pickup. Here is a Shriner's watch fob. I did take an offer on this. I really think that eBay's been off, not showing like what things are actually selling for on the solds, like for like when you take offers or um I don't know, it's been a little off. I think I took an offer for 70 bucks is what I want to say. I listed it on the 16th and it sold I want to say on the 16th or 17th. So it sold really fast. It was really cool. That was a Mason symbol I hadn't seen before. This was an Edwardian gold-filled locket. It sold for $89.99. I listed this November 6th. It sold pretty quickly. That stone was blue. It was really hard to see. Could it be a sapphire? Sure. It's gonna make that much difference. I don't know. I got this in a big lot, so I probably have $3 or $4 into it. I like giving people a deal, and I think that's how you make quick sales on eBay, making people feel like they're getting a good deal for a good product. You make your big profit, you make your profit margin that you need to make, and everybody's happy. I'm definitely on a times 5. So when I buy something, I want to be able to list it even after my sale. I want it to be 5 times what I'm paying for it. And if it's not, I leave it there. So this $104.99. I actually think I took an offer for like 95, but I could be wrong. Don't want to overinflate the numbers, but this was a really nice one. It was signed right there in the middle. It was in pretty good condition for its age, but I listed it on November 13th. Sorry, I was making an annoying clicking noise. I don't know why I'm doing that. This was a very nice necklace. It listed November 1st. It was very nice. I took an offer for $100 yesterday. People would say, why didn't you hang on to that? You'd get so much more money. And you know why? Because I think I paid $8 for this. So I did pay up a little bit. So not as big of a margin as what I'd love, but I flipped it quick. I could sit and dig my heels in and say, I'm pretty sure I can get $200 for this, or I'm pretty sure I can get 175 for this. Beautiful necklace. It is a beautiful necklace, but it was $100 necklace yesterday because somebody was offering to give me $100 for it yesterday. And that's still a great profit margin. So if somebody's jumping up and down for joy because they got a good deal on this necklace yesterday, that's fantastic. I hope they love it. For $100, they can have it, and I will take that money and go buy something else and do this again. This was an unsigned beauty. I think I paid $10 for this. And I think I thought I was crazy at the time for paying $10 for this unsigned necklace, but it was really unique. It had the like upside down little blue bells. It definitely needs a good cleaning, which I'm pretty sure I just described in the description, but they were hanging upside down. The gold was in nice shape. It just needed a good clean. But I had it listed $149 and it sold for $104. I know people will say, how'd you know to ask $104 or $140 for it? Or, because if I don't ask, I can't get it. So I do price high on some things, but I also take offers quickly and I also mark them down quickly. So they're not going to just hang there waiting and hoping for the higher price. Yeah, it needs a detailed cleaning. Yep. It was very heavy too. So somebody's going to really love that. It was definitely worth it. Again, we got a junk box, guys. Me and my junk boxes. So you guys know how it goes. There's a junk box for you. These are my amazing high quality photos of my junk. And then the last picture is what number it is. When you buy my junk boxes, it's a medium flat rate box and it is stuffed full. I mean, I barely can even get the tabs shut. Sometimes it's all broken stuff. Sometimes it's just cheap stuff that I don't want to list because it's not worth my time. Sometimes it's a mix of vintage and modern. Sometimes it's all vintage. Sometimes it's all modern. Just depends on what I get that week. I go through a lot of jewelry and I decide quickly. This was my highest sale of the week. It was a lunch at the Ritz Christmas necklace, and I listed this clear back in August. And I think I fully expected that it was gonna, sell really quickly, and it just really didn't. But then somebody came along and paid full price for it, so I was happy about that. And I would get asked all the time, well, if that can happen, why didn't you hold out on your other stuff? You could get offered full price for that too. This was getting brought down by 5% every time every time it renewed on every 30 days or whatever. So it definitely has been brought down. But if I didn't take those offers and I didn't let those flip over the way that they do, I wouldn't make the money I do. If I held out on everything I thought was really good in my store, I have a lot of great things in my store, and a lot of people get a lot of great deals out of my store. But if I didn't let them go, I couldn't get the money to come back so I could redeploy it again. I also make sure that I'm not falling into the churning versus earning syndrome. I am deploying the money smartly with it and keeping the profit while reinvesting the rest. So it becomes a problem when you turn around and take all the money and reinvest all of it. And it's just a constant circle. So you're really never actually profiting anything because you're always putting it right back in. You're just like washing that same money over and over and over. And you don't really want to do that. You want to make money. So that's why I'm big on keeping the books. I know I drive you guys crazy with that. This week in the group, and go to Reseller Revenue at Patreon if you're interested. We're going to talk about our business rules. So last couple of weeks, we went through what the business rules mean. We do this every single year together. And then this week, we're starting over on the business rules that we discussed and what they mean. And we are going to share our business rules because when we write things down, they make sense. And sometimes it makes us more committed to them and it makes us think it through. This is a business. We shouldn't just be flying by the seat of our pants. We need to have rules. That's what businesses have. So, Tuesday, we're going to go over the sourcing rules. So, like, do you have a budget for sourcing? How much unlisted inventory do you allow yourself before you source again? How much do you want to have in your queue? All of those things that have to do with sourcing. A lot of people don't want to talk about that because they like to source. They want to just keep sourcing. Well, then your money is going to be in a pile in your house. It's not going to be in your bank account. And that is not what I'm doing. I want to make money. So just kind of give that some thought. I did post the rules, at least the ones we're going over Tuesday in the Reseller Revenue Move Facebook group, which you can just go to and follow, please. And also Reseller Revenue on Instagram. YouTube's got a new thing called a hype button. If you happen to see it by my any of my videos that you're watching, I really appreciate if you hit the hype button because it really helps small channels like us. It doesn't cost you anything. And then also leaving comments. So I'd love to see your best sale of the week that you had. Or maybe you had a really great find this week. I'd love to see what you guys are finding and what you're selling. And don't ever be afraid to go in the Facebook group or in the Facebook page on Reseller Revenue and post something if you need, like, hey, what piece of jewelry is this? Or I will show you how to help yourself, how to go research something. Or if you tell me, hey, I researched here and there, and this is what I think, am I pricing it correctly? Share. Everybody wants to see your wins. Everybody wants to help out. So I really appreciate you guys. I know this is kind of short. Have a great holiday week. I appreciate you. Enjoy your family.